We're jumping into the National Football League, the NFL. Some interesting things going on in the NFL, and I think we can maybe start with the fact that the Giants picked up a win for the third time in 9 games. They currently sit at 3-6. They get a nice W heading into the bye week against the Oakland Raiders. They played at MetLife Stadium in that game and finished with a score of 23-16. Danny, the Giants tear my heart out, put it back in, tear my heart out, put it back in. In reality, I've said this so many times, I think they should be a team that's about, maybe they could be they should be at least 4-5, I think. They've lost a couple games where they really should have won against the Falcons, against the football team. They've also won some games that they maybe shouldn't have won. Like, people probably thought they had no business beating the Saints. I didn't. But the Giants, they're kind of a all over the place mishmash team right now, where the question is, can they find a groove with guys in and out of the lineup? Can Daniel Jones get going, be the leader? Can the defense step up like they kind of did last week? Or are they kind of just going to fall apart? That's kind of the question I think I find myself asking as a fan, but more so just a spectator with the Giants every single year.
Their defense, I think their defense is starting to figure it out. They've held teams to under 20 points each of the last 3 weeks, and they had a big game from Xavier McKinney last week. Yep. Obviously, the 2 picks, the pick 6. So it depends on if their defense can keep it rolling for the rest of the year, to me. They got the Bucs this week, they got a bye, and then they got the Bucs the week after, so that's a little bit of a tough draw with Tom Brady. So we'll see. I think the defense is the key to this team. Daniel Jones is doing a lot better with turnovers this year.
Yep.
He's not playing like a superstar like maybe the Giants fans want to see out of a number 6 overall pick. He's a good player, a lot less turnovers, so I'm hopeful for him as a very least a game manager type quarterback.
And like you said, with I guess the game managing of it is a very good transition for me here, because a lot of the management of the game for the Giants where they've struggled is the offense either doesn't produce and the defense is on the field for too long, or the offense will produce and the defense just won't be able to get a stop. They're not on top of their game. It seemed like, 23 points is a solid amount by I think in anyone's sense of how scoring works. Over 3 scores there for the Giants. And then 16, of course, solid, nice, pretty low number. So both sides of the football did their job. And really, I think that's what has to happen for the Giants to be able to win consistently. That's what happens for basically every good team, if you look at it. Both sides of the football cooperate. They work together. It's when the offense is on, say a fumble happens, the defense will pick them up. It's not, oh, man, look at this. The defense has to come out now and make a save. It's, let's do it. We got you. And that's part of, the team camaraderie that I think is slowly being built. I've said this again so many times. The Giants defense totally took a blow by losing Blake Martinez, their captain on defense, middle linebacker, really just the field general out there for a lack of better terms. I think that is a good term, but he really did it all for the Giants, tackling machine, and he kind of, with him not out there, you look for another leader, whether it's James Bradbury, who has kind of had an underwhelming season, to say the least. But this Giants defense, like you said, they've figured it out these past few games. Holding teams under 20 points 3 games in a row is major. But you got to pick up wins when the defense does that as well. So that's where you can shift to the offense. I'm curious to hear, before I dive into my little rant on the Giants on the offensive side of the football, if you've got any thoughts on last week's victory on the offensive side of the football or anything else that's going on with the Giants and the offense.
I think it's all going to come down for the Giants if they can run the ball. Devontae Booker last week had a great game. Yep. I think it was 99 rushing yards.
99 on the dot.
And looking into the future, potentially after the bye week, you get Saquon back.
Hopefully.
And Kadarius Toney went out early in the game with an injury, so maybe you get him back. He's looking like a very high upside rookie that has been playing well so far. So it's just, can they get these guys going? Can they get Saquon going when he gets back? Can Daniel Jones get the ball to a Toney? And I believe, is it Kenny Golladay is going to be coming back too? So it's just whether or not they can get these going. Can the defense keep producing like they have been the past few weeks? I want to hear what you have to say, because obviously you're a fan of the team. So I'll give it up to you.
Yeah, the injuries has been really the story of the season, I think, for the Giants. Besides shooting themselves in the leg and the foot and the thigh when they lose games with penalties, I take back what I said about them either being 4-5 or 5-4. I think realistically they could be 6-3 if they were to pick up wins against the Chiefs like they should have, and then the Falcons and the football team. Obviously, it's hard to do, but those are 3 games where they shot themselves in the foot, and even more so everywhere else, just meltdowns of games. I'm not saying that's all on the offense. Obviously, defense draws penalties as well, some big ones for sure. But it's interesting. I looked at the stats after the game. I missed the beginning of it when I was watching on Sunday, and I saw E. Ingram touchdown, Evan Ingram, and I was like, oh, holy! I almost forgot he was on the team because of the lack of production. Obviously, he's had his problems with injuries, but when he plays, he's shown tremendous upside, but also some pretty bad signs as well, like when he dropped the football against the Eagles to kind of ruin the Giants' somehow playoff hopes last year. But seeing him get on the board was a sign of something good, I think. Ingram, very talented as a tight end, really almost like a slot receiver as well. I think this bye week is arguably the best thing that's happening to the Giants right now. They get a win, so there's some confidence and momentum. They don't necessarily have to ride the momentum, but they will when they go to Tampa. Probably a loss there, but who knows? You get guys back, a little spark, a little energy. No one's really seen these guys play much this season. Maybe the Giants have a different game plan there, and maybe they come out with a win. And if they win there, they jump to 4-6. Again, very unlikely, but they jump to 4-6. 7 games left in the season. There's a solid chance they could finish 500 or above 500. And with the way the league pans out, who knows? Maybe the playoffs are an option. I wrote down playoffs with a question mark because there are a lot of subpar teams in the NFC right now who are kind of battling in that middle territory. The Panthers, the Seahawks, the Falcons, the Niners, where it really could kind of go any way with those teams, especially based on injury. Injury plays such a huge role, of course, in the National Football League. But with the Giants, I think the key is now you get these guys back. Just treat them right. Don't necessarily rely on Saquon Barkley to do everything. As much as Giants fans would want to, he probably still isn't even 100% healthy from his first injury. So you want to see, of course, the incorporation and usage of these guys, but we can't overuse them as a team where then it's kind of, they're knocked down in a sense of 100% back to their full health. But I'm looking forward to, I guess, seeing them back, because the best game I watched all season for the Giants was when Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley ran read options like it was their only play against the football team. And that was a game, of course, I've said it many times already, they should have won. So it gets very, I said they tear the heart out, put it back in, tear the heart out, put it back in. It's just tough to see, and you hope, obviously, they can pull out wins, but with the schedule coming up, it could be hard, and I don't really know necessarily where they go. But I guess, to kind of finish up with the Giants here, I did this all the way back after week 1 when the Giants started 0-1. And I said, I don't know if my prediction necessarily is right, because I want to hear what you say before I reveal mine. This Giants team currently sits at 3-6, 9 games through. They've got 8 more games with a 17-game season. What is your prediction of a final record for this New York Giants team?
So I'm kind of bouncing between 3 numbers right now. I'm thinking a 7-10, 8-9, or 9-8 win season. Mm-hmm. I don't think, as much as you would love it, I think the Buccaneers, you can chalk that one up as a loss.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers, you could probably chalk that one up as a loss. And then the Cowboys one is interesting to me. I think because it's a division rival, it's at home, at MetLife, I think that's a potential win. I think you can beat the Eagles twice. I think you can beat Washington. You've already shown that you can beat Washington. Yeah. If it wasn't for a false start penalty or an offsides penalty, you would have already beat Washington.
True.
And then the Bears, and like I said, the Eagles twice. I think if I was being realistic here, I would probably go with 7-10, but I could very easily see 9-8 or 8-9.
I'd love the 9-8. I just don't see it happening personally. My prediction all the way back in week 1 was the Giants are a 6-8 win football team. And I think they're going to hit it right in the middle at 7-10. I believe this team is a 500 football team, and I think they're going to finish the season 500, 4-4. But obviously they've, like I said, shot themselves in the foot many times in many different places in many different games where they could have won more, and they just haven't. So with that, I think they're going to start to figure it out more as the season goes. This team, obviously, again, it's relatively new with Galladay and I guess Judge in his second year, you're hoping he figures some more out. Maybe that comes in the second half of this season. I see them around 7-10, and I think if I have to kind of pinpoint a number, that's the number I want to pinpoint.